Hey everybody. So I am just coming back from a big trip here, and I did see Waffles what you said, so I changed it, I think, to a live chat. So hopefully that fixes that issue. Um, I hadn't actually recorded anything in a little bit since Monday because anyways, I was out of pocket for real world stuff. So I don't have a whole bunch of updates on the campaign part of it, but I do have a couple things I'd like to talk about, and we can go ahead and kind of go through all that kind of stuff. So I am sorry for, once again, being a little bit out of pocket this week, but I'm back. This kind of stuff usually doesn't happen really that much at all because I moved out. Well, sorry, I'm having a hard time coming up with what to say here because I don't want to get into real world stuff too much, but I don't travel that much anymore. So yeah, it does happen. And I do apologize. And thanks for that, Daniel. So what I will go over though is some updates to what we are doing. So I am going to adjust the timeline by about a week. I do have a few other things that I have to kind of wrap up before I can get back into the story beats. We did a nice conversation about that Sunday, and I do have to go ahead and get along. And what I did want to go over this week that I'm not going to be able to is fill out a little bit more about Eleanor, a little bit more about her family, which is something we talked about on Sunday. And then we talked a few things about how you might get the players involved in the campaign. So one of the things that I thought was really, really interesting was, once again, this is Galt, this is Revolution, this is small government or no government, whatever, basically a slightly controlled anarchy. And so one of the things we came up with was coming up with like a poor family that the group might be trying to help rather than just everybody get together in a bar and all of a sudden the magic happens in your group. But maybe they needed food and there was some type of state run type banquet or something specifically for the Trent family that you could go along and basically be a bandit for a food caravan in order to distribute the food to the poorer families, kind of like a Robin Hood type thing. It was one of the story beats that I wanted to go ahead and go over this week, but I didn't have enough time to flesh it out. However, what I was able to do, because I was only had my work computer and this didn't require internet access, is I did do a couple maps. Now there is part of the story that we kind of got discussed on the 25th by Mr. Ray, I believe, and it was Mr. Ree who came up with some logging companies, and I forgot this is Woods Edge. There needs to be a logging company. So one of the things I wanted to do is let's go ahead and go into Wonderdraft here, and I'm going to open up Woods Edge. So this is one of the maps I was able to work on this week. So we'll go ahead and bring it up. Now this is a city I kind of created. There is a creator on Cartography Assets, Dia, and I use their map pack. And basically what you can do is I use these three packs right here, the City Mega Pack, the Crop Mega Pack, and the Village Mega Pack, and created each one of these little, don't want to put a bridge on there in a huge scale, but each one of these little buildings here is individual, and that took forever, I will say that. But we do kind of have a map for Woods Edge as well as for DeBrill, and I'll show that in a little bit here. The names of the quarters, these are just things that I brought up and kind of thought about. They aren't set in stone, nothing like that, but I do like the separation of the particular districts for the maps. One of the things I did want to show is, once again, that one thing that was brought up was logging companies. Now, if we go ahead and look at, let me go ahead and do this. I should have brought this up already, but I didn't. So part of Wood's Edge, if you look at it, is I kind of created this coastline here and cut it off here, but I can go ahead and make the map a little bit bigger in order to bring this river in order to do the logging, because once again, you can see that there's more forest here. There is part of the river that kind of swoops back up. So one of the things I kind of wanted to cover is how you would in Wonderdraft in order to make a map bigger. And one of the ways you can do that, just so everybody's aware, is you can go ahead and change your map size and it doesn't affect any placement or change the scale. This literally changes your canvas size. So what you can do is I tried 1440 and I didn't like it, so I'm probably going to do it to 16. And you can go ahead and adjust how you would like the additional real estate to be added to your map by just clicking on the arrows, whether you'd like to the top or whether you'd like it to the bottom or however you would like to add it. But I'm going to go ahead and keep it in the center here because I'd like to also add a few things on top. But what you can go ahead and do is just hit okay. It says can't be what I'm thinking about here is it says cannot be undone. It cannot be undone, correct. You can't hit Control Z or undo and make it go away. However, it doesn't actually overwrite your map until you save it. So you just do a save as, and then you don't have to worry about your original map being kind of trashed. But you hit okay, and all of a sudden you have more space. So I can go ahead and you can see that I have some things up there. Let's go ahead and get rid of those, as well as this label here. So now I can go ahead and move everything over if I wanted to. And what I might wind up doing actually is redoing that. So what we will do is we will discard those changes, open up Wood's Edge again, and let me do that whole process again, change the map size. But I like the coastline being here. So make it to 1600. And now what I can do is create water. And if we look at that other map, you can see that we have a little area here. It kind of rises up, goes down, and then comes back around. So what we can actually do, let's take another look at that real quick. So bring it up in Wonderdraft, do the paint, I have it there. We can kind of make it follow our little area here and have the river come through there. And then what I'd wind up doing is painting all this, and you can change your brush size and all this other kind of stuff. And smooth out the edges. This isn't something I'm actually going to save, but then what you can do is take this little kind of stipple brush here. I usually ramp down the opacity. Velocity is how fast the colors come in, and I usually take that way down, especially when I'm just doing this little spot thing. And then you can just kind of give the hint of deeper water. Once again, if velocity was ramped up, then those colors would come in really quick, but that might actually be good when I'm just doing this fill in here for deeper water. Wonderdraft. Yep, I love Wonderdraft. And it's really good. It doesn't get a lot of credit for being a good city builder, but it actually is. Now let's take the brush velocity back down and just kind of stipple this in. Overlay this. So then we go back to water. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time doing this, but just showing what you can do and how I did what I did so far. And I just do little clicks and kind of feather this edge out so that the depth part isn't quite as But that would be basically how I'm going to redo the coastline. And then I could go ahead and create land over here. And once again, brush that in if I wanted to. And then I can make our whole little logging area. And what I'd wind up doing probably is I was looking at, let's see, where is it? Nope, not that one. I have a bunch of windows open, unfortunately. So I need to find or create a water wheel. There's two ways I can go about this. So we can go ahead and do kind of like a logging area where you have a water wheel. The water wheel operates the saw, which is what you'd have for lumber mills. There are also, now that I don't have a token for that in WonderDraft. So I've done a little, for the assets that I do have, I don't have a wheel of any sort. I kind of went through all my things over here and I don't have anything that would really work for that. I do have a bunch of windmills. You can kind of see those. I hate when it does that. Yeah, I have a bunch of windmills up here. So you can do a windmill operated saw. And basically what it would do is it just has a gear that would make it go back and forth and back and forth. Same thing with a water wheel. But that's how I'm going to add the logging areas. The logging areas, I'm going to wind up putting back here near the trees. But then I also thought I'd bring the river following along this and put a couple trees down here. And that way that would kind of give the vision of the lumber mill, and then I could put some headquarters. So this particular area for Woods Edge, so I basically separated into, so here's like the old town, I call it Old Quarter. The green is this area over here. I thought maybe that would be a good element for the storyline, something where something happened, some type of revolutionary type monument or something along those lines. Two crosses, I kind of like that name. So I put two churches here and here, and that could be the Two Crosses area. Oh, thank you, Fine Pig. I'll put the little thing for the Discord on there in a second. Then we have East Ward, boring, but that is kind of a newer area. I'm thinking as the city grows bigger, it's going to grow further and further out. Night Hall, I like the name. I thought that would be a good place for thieves guilds and more downtrodden areas. I kind of made the buildings a little bit more ramshackle, a little bit less structured. As you go further and further out, everything gets a little bit less structured, but these I kind of wanted to make a little bit more ramshackle. Now that I've increased the map size, I can go ahead and kind of bring this out a little bit more. Those are still up there. Trade Ward right here. That would just be where the docks are and things like that. Hey, Kojo. And this would be basically the trades area of Woods Edge. And then Copper Park. I just thought it was an interesting name. This would be a place where I was thinking maybe the poorer elements of the city would work because, or where the blue collar areas, I don't want to necessarily, well, I guess it would be the poor area. But now that Mr. Reed brought up the fact that I forgot to put a lumber mill in here, this is going to be where the logging people live. And I'll go ahead and put the logging area over here somewhere and put the buildings over there, make another industrial area kind of. And what I do like is as part of this map pack, I got some nice walls so I can go ahead and kind of wall off that area to make it look a little bit better. Feel free to get on the Discord as mentioned, and the Discord is actually in the description for this particular live. So if you have any ideas or anything you'd like to see, or you can see anything that I'm particularly missing, absolutely no problem, Kojo. I appreciate you coming on. I do need to get rid of that area up there. Every time I do this, I keep forgetting that as opposed to deleting this one little group, I just kind of threw it up top or threw it off the canvas. But since I increased the canvas size, now it sits. But that was basically how I built the buildings, in little groupings like that. But if you can think of anything in Woods Edge that you'd like to see, feel free to go ahead. And then the other map I wanted to show, I'm going to go ahead and discard this because I don't, oh, no, not new, open. discard those changes because I'll go ahead and make something a little bit better looking. This is DeBrill. Now, DeBrill to me seems pretty complete. This has, DeBrill has 560 people, I believe. Revolutionary Community House. There's Revolutionary Community House. Oh, let me go back to that for a second, actually. So I had thought, in truth, and well, there's a couple things that need to be done. So you have overlays, you can do borders. So one of the border ideas I liked is, I don't want to save it yet. Is you can go ahead and enable edges, you know, a border around your map. Once again, it covers up here. So I'm just doing this on the fly to give everybody an idea. But I wanted to create a border, and you can create assets on your own for Wonder Draft or Dungeon Draft, and they're just PNGs with transparent backgrounds. That's all assets are. Gray Maiden Offices, Revolutionary Community House. I probably need to write this down. Hold on. That is good ideas. The reason I'm doing this is so I don't get a copy of the chat. So if I write it down now, I don't have to go through the chat later. Revolutionary and Gray Maiden Dust. Yep. Sorry, I'm making everybody wait. I hate when there's silence on a, I feel like I'm not prepared. But anyways, my thought is I would go ahead and create something like this, but with a little bit more to it. And the reason why is use one of these borders ideas and go ahead and create like A, B, C, D, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many segments we have. And then 4 areas when it would just be a zoomed in area, and then we could label some of these. So like for this, I was thinking, because this would be a revolution type area, I was thinking one of these buildings here, either this one, in truth, I was kind of thinking this one, because this is a bigger building, is make this the revolutionary house. And then I actually wanted to do the new Pathfinder Society building. I was thinking about doing that on this corner in a newer area, Copper Park, where the newer buildings are, because once again, it's just coming back in. So somewhere in here, one of these 2 buildings here, this one or this one. But I didn't want to get too defined because once again, we don't have a whole bunch. What do we say? They are not known to the Gray Maiden, our secret. Who? Oh, the Gray Maidens? I don't know if that's a question. So I actually do have, that's something I'll cover here in a little bit when we get to World Anvil, and I'm going to start doing access to World Anvil for people. Once again, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do it this week. Totally my fault. People go ahead and put their information in the Discord. In order to get on World Anvil, you'll have to create an account and let me know where your username is, and from there I can go ahead and give users access from your account on World Anvil. We'll cover that in a second. But the Grey Gardeners are going to be a secret, but they still should probably have a headquarters in here. I don't think I'm going to have one in DeBrill because DeBrill's too small. Grey Gardeners could be anywhere, but I would assume that they would, because they aren't, well, you'll see when I get to World Anvil. Right now I have them under military because that was a standard category in World Anvil. I'm saying a bunch of things that no one understands yet because they haven't seen it yet, and I apologize for that. But that was my idea, is to basically grid this out so that we can kind of zoom in on the particular areas and create separate maps so that people can kind of see where things actually are in Wood's Edge. So I'm probably saying something that probably isn't great to say, but you know what? I'm actually pretty darn proud of this map. I quite liked it. I like the radial thing. I like the fact that we have the industrial area over there. I forgot about the logging park. I feel about that. But no, I really, really like this map. Let's go on to DeBrill. So DeBrill is, once again, we have our whole dock area over here. I was thinking that these buildings, which I like them being very similar, and these are a slightly higher class building. This is from the city pack and have actual roofs and that kind of things. I thought this would be the Trent particular part of the industrial area, simply because this is the rose gardens. You can see I kind of cut off the fences right there because I actually cut off the map right here, but we can go ahead and make it further. And then in order for a person to go visit the Trents, I kind of thought that we could do a nice little road through the rose gardens. This would be a little guardhouse so that only the people that the Trents want to come in to their mansion would be able to do it. And they would go ahead and drive through, and then we would have basically the Trent mansion off over here. I wasn't going to include that as part of the city map. For that, I'm actually bringing up Dungeon Alchemist here. And I'll bring it up to the top here in a second. It's loading. But we'd have that map up here. File, open map. So I was kind of messing around with how we would do the mansion. I was figuring it'd be 3 levels. This would kind of be the great hall, dining room, servants' quarters, kitchen with a little pantry over here. This is kind of a great room, receiving room. Upstairs would be the bedrooms and study, the Trent's personal quarters. And then I do a staircase, and this would be the staircase going up to the 2nd level. And then in the basement, we would have a smaller basement that would be where if you had kidnapping victims or hostages or something along those lines, which I think is something we had discussed as a story beat. One of the things I wanted to develop this week that I didn't get a chance to. But that would be a reason to kind of go in here. And I want the mansion to be a little bit involved simply because I'd love to run this as an infiltration. Because I love subsystems. I am such a sucker for a good subsystem. And that is kind of where I'm going. Yeah, exactly. I just saw your re-education. That is an interesting idea. Re-education of hostages is what I'm writing down. So, but the basement would be the area where you could have cells or something along those lines. It doesn't have to follow the floor plan. The upper level does have to follow the floor plan. Once again, this is only the first floor plan that I had been working on. And none of it's final. Matter of fact, this is totally just playing around. I'm actually not a huge fan of this particular layout, but it's an idea. I like the idea of having wings. The servant wing is over here. This is the receiving wing. Big, great, impressive grand hall, because you want your big, bad, evil, rich villain to be all about impressions. And anyway, so I'm thinking about doing Dungeon Alchemist for the buildings. Once we do individual buildings, then that would be the Revolutionary Hall. That would be Pathfinder Society building. That would be any of the major areas that we have. So there is different software packages that I'm using for different maps. One thing I do really want to work on is I need to figure out how to make these images at least, and I want color for the images, but I would like them to sort of be in the same type layout, and I wouldn't do, so there's, for Dungeon Alchemist, anybody who doesn't know anything about it, it's something you can get on Steam. It's not cheap. I think it's $40-something, so it's not super cheap, but what I like about it is you can go ahead and you want to create a room, so mansion. Let's go ahead and throw a study. You can go ahead, let's say we want to study right here. If you just drag your rectangle and then hit that, it will go ahead and it will populate that study for you with a bunch of elements and items. You can use this for commercial. I've already checked. There are different projections you can use. Correct. No nobility and galt, because that's what the Grey Gardeners are for. The Grey Gardeners are to go ahead and kind of kill all the... They go after the nobility. I'm not going to say they kill all of them, or I don't want to get too far down that line, because once again, that's a story beat that I didn't get a chance to develop. But yes, it's a good start. It's good for layouts is what I really like this. But I'm trying to create a way to maybe recolor these or simplify them a little bit so they match the Wonder Draft maps. I do like the style of the Wonder Draft maps. But anyways, there are different projections you can use. You can use a 3/4, which is kind of interesting. And then you have a overhead that is just an orthographic projection, meaning you can't see the walls. Basically, it's not 3D. And then you have an overhead sort of 3D, which gives it a little bit of volume. I do like Dungeon Alchemist because it's super easy to create ideas. It just kind of whips stuff out. If you don't particularly like something, like this floor doesn't match in the study, so you go ahead and place floor tiles. And then I've been using that one a lot. We'll go ahead and go to wood to match the other ones, and you can just click it. And you can make it match whatever you wanted. If you wanted to add particular elements, or you wanted to add a door or walls or anything along those lines, it has tools for all of that in order to make it whatever you would like. So Dungeon Alchemist is really good for laying out buildings, I find. But I just want to figure out a way to make them match a little bit better. So I might wind up creating these in Dungeon Alchemist and then taking them into GIMP and desaturating and maybe doing a type of vintage filter on them to make them match the coloring of the Wonder Draft maps while still having a little bit of color to them. Or I might just do some things in Dungeon Alchemist to get a basic layout done, and then after I'm done with that, go ahead and make it so that we can do it in a different software package. You can do the other one. I'm giving away all the stuff, and I'm kind of talking a little bit about some of the other programs we have. But one of the things that you can do is this is the same people who make Wonder Draft, Megasploot, right here, also create something called Dungeon Draft. So Dungeon Draft, start with the map wizard. Now, the only things that you can do in Dungeon Draft by default, if you go ahead and buy this package, you can create dungeons and you can create caves. Flip maps versus adventure maps. That's a good idea. But Dungeon Draft, by default, you can only do dungeons and caves. And that's what most of the assets are in Dungeon Draft. However, let's go ahead and go to, if I can even talk. Sorry, spell is what I'm talking about. And this is a slow website to load, so I'll go ahead and talk when I'm doing it. You can go ahead and get new assets. If you are doing this for your personal use, and we kind of already did a map, one of these, but I'm winding up doing this again. If you're doing this for personal use, you can use most of these, and you don't have to pay for anything. There are a bunch of good free assets out there. Since I'm a YouTube streaming channel, I'm trying to be very careful to only use things that have a commercial license. But one of the things I did want to tell you is that if you go to cartographyassets.com, and it is a slow loading website, and you go to software specific, you have Wonder Draft right here, and you also have Dungeon Draft. So if you go ahead and click on Dungeon Draft, and while that's loading, you can load other things. So I could also possibly bring this. Correct, you can do outdoor maps too. Actually, I didn't know that. I knew you could do buildings because of assets. Well, okay, you're right. And just as I go to this assets, you go ahead and you can see some of the things on here. But you can basically build things here. And it's in euros. So for those people in Europe, this is better for you. But it does, you can go, PayPal is what they use to process their payments. But one of the things I did want to say, sorry, I'm kind of going on a tangent. is there are tons of free things on there. If you're using this for personal use, correct, it's not quick at all. Wonderdraft took me all week in order to do those maps. A lot of these things are free. You can get a lot of really good things for free on cartography assets, and you can, say whatever price you want. But because I am doing, it's loading. One thing about cartography assets, it's super, super slow. Tons of free assets, though. This is Dungeon Draft. Once again, if you want to go somewhere else, you can go to other software packages, and you can download other ones. I'm using only the ones that have a commercial license. So if you do a map, or if you're thinking about doing a map, even for this particular thing, let me know what assets you're using, because I want to make sure that they're commercial, so that we don't abuse anybody else's artwork, is basically kind of where I'm going. But yeah, you can go ahead and download assets for building. So huge tangent to tell you this. Great website, number one. Number two is, if I can't get the look in Dungeon Alchemist to kind of at least give me some type of continuity with the maps from Wonderdraft, then I will probably wind up getting some assets from here for Dungeon Draft in order to recreate those maps in Dungeon Draft, and then I can go ahead and make it look pretty similar. So that is pretty much what I want to do about the map updates. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is I have not done everything that I can do on GitHub yet, so I apologize for that. But I do have a bunch of things in World Anvil. So on the Discord, I have a couple links on some of the things. One of the things I did want to show is that a little bit of the back end of World Anvil and how we're kind of starting. First thing I want to show is, if you want images, you can't just drag and drop images. World Anvil's a little bit hard to navigate in sometimes. And it's not necessarily hard, might be the wrong word. It isn't a what you see is what you get type editor. It works more like a Dreamweaver circa 2000, if anybody remembers that. You have to upload images to your library on here. There is a learning curve to it. You can't just drag something from your computer directly into a document. It has to be uploaded into the images folder. These are the things that I have added in order to kind of start creating some articles. And then when you go ahead and create articles, you do, like, these are from here up are the things that I've created so far. But we'll go ahead and do Wood's Edge. So Wood's Edge, that's shown as broken for some reason. But what I will do is two ways you can do this. You can click on it and you can see a little bit about what's going on over there. But the quickest way, because the quickest way to get the tags correct is you can either go to Advanced Edit and click here, and it'll copy it to your clipboard, and then you can paste it in the document. Or the much easier way is to just click right here, and it's going to give you that tag. And then what you can do is you can go back to your article, and then you can just hit Control V, which is what I'm doing right now, even though you can't see it, or you could paste, but it brings the image in. Correct. There are very distinct steps and procedures in World Anvil, but that's how you add images or other assets. Well, that's pretty much just images, but it's going to work that way for most assets into a document. And this is the map that I created before. Once again, I do have to edit it for the logging camp and to make it bigger, but it's where we are so far. And then you can go ahead and add a bunch of different things. They have different sections: design, navigation, preference, secrets. I'm going to go to a different article for that. Let me just save these changes. And the article I'm going to go to is I'm going to go to the country of Galt. So there's different things once you kind of get into the back end, is edit, view, or delete the trash can. Here's one thing I want to do is I need to create a second user account, just in another browser. And make sure, because I don't want a bunch of people to have access to deleting. But once again, if you do want access to this to help contribute, you have to create a World Anvil account, and then I can do it from there by allowing permissions for your World Anvil account access to edit documents. So I basically have Galt. This is my Galt page for World Anvil. This is what the public would see if they go to the page. Here's a map that I just copied from here, if you really want to know. I just kind of zoomed out until the city, until the countries, and then I just took a little screenshot there. And then this is from Lost Omens World Guide. I believe I'm going to have to rewrite this somehow, bulletize it. I need to make it different because I don't want to claim any credit for this. But this is a copy and paste from... I don't have it up. It's from the Lost Omens World Guide, which I have a PDF of. I actually don't have that document. Otherwise, I'd just go grab it from back there. But it's from the World Guide, and I just kind of copied and pasted in there. Probably not a good thing to do, but I do want to give full credit. Paizo, it's theirs. It's just up there kind of as a space filler. Anyways, what I wanted to show was there's different headers that you can use. Different cultures. And I'm going to kind of show you how to do all this stuff. History, this was all copied from Pathfinder Wiki. Military. Grey Gardeners aren't the military, but that was a category that was set in stone. I'm doing this for display purposes, so I kind of show you how this stuff works. You can add images. Exactly, it's good for a reference. Images are done the same way. This particular image had to be brought over here and then added per tag. Foreign relations, this is all done from Pathfinder Wiki. Divine origins. And then you see all the sidebars over here. So now I'm going to show you how we actually did that. So you have to edit organization. So this is kind of what it looks like from the perspective of when you're trying to edit it. It's not super easy. And you'll see that when I had that other document, let's go ahead and do a view again. I'm doing this on purpose because I can show you that first page cuts off right here. Now what you have to do aside from that is you have to go into the different sections. Sidebar sections. So all this over here, sidebar, is actually on a totally different tab and a sub-tab of that tab. So basically, I have the nation facts, the geography settings, and those are the ones that I filled in for sidebar in order to put a sidebar over there. Then if you want to do, let's go to content, sections, footer sections, all the different footer sections you can do, all the different header sections that you wanted to do, and then all the different pages, all the different things that you can do, the cover image that I have, an excerpt for when they hover over that particular image, what they'd actually see, the mouse over snippet. Once again, you can also change cascading style sheets and search engine optimization, different navigation things you can do, preferences, secrets. Secrets are things that aren't going to show up. Once again, if we do feel like sharing, well, it isn't if we do feel like sharing this, we are going to share this. But we can share it in a PDF, we can share it on World Anvil, and we're going to share it in Foundry. You can do the secrets thing. Secrets are things that are only shown to the GM. So if a GM wanted to use the public-facing side of this, they would log on as a GM and they would have access to secrets that the players wouldn't get. It's kind of like Player's Guide versus GM Guide, or in Foundry, the assets that only the GM can see. But this would be World Anvil's portion of it. So that is, once again, part of what I wanted to show you, as it's not specific to, it's not just as easy as a Word document or a what you see, what you get element is. Some of the other things that I kind of showed is heads of state and head of government and government system, power structure system, all these things that you can add, a gazetteer that you can use, legislative bodies. All of these particular elements are all things in order to get these links here. And these links go to other articles within World Anvil. They have to be done by using all these links here. You have to go ahead and kind of create an article first, with create and link a new article. So let's go back to our first page. If we want to do Citizen Camilla Dranok, you had to create the article in order to link to it, so it's a linkable thing. And this is, once again, things that are brought up through Pathfinder Wiki, which we can probably use, and I need to make sure that anything I use is potentially available in at least Archives of Nethys. So now, if you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm actually bringing my phone up because my little vacuum cleaner, I have a little robot vacuum cleaner started up, and that's going to get really loud here in a second. So sorry if I'm pausing, but I need to pause my vacuum cleaner. So vacuum cleaner's paused. Going back to Galt, you can go ahead and create, once again, Revolutionary Council. These are the elements of the Revolutionary Council. This is from Pathfinder Wiki. Going back to here, you have the Gazetteer, you have the official currency, all this other kind of things you can add. Then you have different sections you can use. As I mentioned before, sorry, I went too far here. So religious, for the origins, that is where I put that particular religion section, which is the divine origin section down here. Diplomacy. I keep going to the wrong tab, sorry. Once again, this isn't easy for me either. Or it's not, when I say that, I'm basically meaning that it is complicated, so it makes it a little bit harder to do. But this is, just so you're aware, World Anvil isn't quite as easy. Okay, thanks, Waffles. I will go ahead and look for you. I'm assuming it's under the same name. If not, you can go ahead and do it in the Discord. You can just DM it to me, or you can go ahead and put it pretty much anywhere and I'll see it. But this is World Anvil. World Anvil is very good for organization, very good for a public facing thing. And once again, we can change the whole theme of this entire page and all this up here. And we still need to name our campaign, and we'll name the campaign and kind of, all right, thanks, Waffles. We can go ahead and add all these particular things and make it public facing. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to show you. In order to publish, you can do one of two things. Like right now, the country of Galt, I've published it, meaning the public can see it. If you don't want the public to see something, you can go ahead and make it draft just by clicking this little area up here. Or you can lock it down to the public, or make it, right now it's listed as a work in progress, but if you want it to be something different, you can go ahead and click on that. You have a tag system, so someone can go into the world here and type in cities. Oh, because I don't have the tags in well yet. Okay, so I haven't done that. You can go ahead and create the different cities. I have something for Debril. We can go ahead and view that. Debril, I included that map there, as well as the information that was available in Pathfinder Wiki. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show was, you can go ahead and do the population size and all the other types of information you have in the sidebar. And we'll populate that more as we get to it with a little bit of anything that's available within the city. Izarn, this is once again from Pathfinder Wiki. Did the same type thing as I just took a map from World of Galarian and kind of zoomed in and did it. We can go ahead and make better maps, or if I can find a better map that has public access or the ability to use it, we can go ahead and use it. Community stat block, yeah. That is World Anvil. I do like it. GitHub, I haven't set it up yet. Let me... Only reason I'm bringing it down here is because in case I have to log in, if I don't have it set up, I'm still logged in. So I do have GitHub marginally set up, and GitHub is where we can do a lot of the difference between GitHub and World Anvil. World Anvil's for presentation. GitHub is a little bit better for doing things behind the scenes. I had been working a little bit with Thomas on this, but I don't have everything set up. I don't have all the different categories set up. I will get that set up as quickly as I can. Once again, I apologize, but this week was just kind of blown for me. So I don't have it all done. But let me get some organization in the GitHub, and then we can start doing it here, doing things in there. The reason why I'm using two different systems. So World Anvil is a great publishing platform. That's what it's there for. But if we're doing a bunch of different things like NPCs and things along those lines, I kind of think that GitHub is quicker and we can track issues, things that are added. If anybody who hasn't used GitHub before, you can go ahead and list new issues. I've created new projects, and you can go ahead and create timelines and things along those lines. If you have ever done anything with programming, it's kind of what a lot of people use for it yet. Once again, as I mentioned, I don't have the public repository set up yet. That is something that I need to get done this week. But those are the two systems we're going to be using. GitHub for project management is the side I'm using it for anybody who is a programmer. That's what I went to college for, was computer science, but I'm not a programmer anymore. You probably use GitHub for programming, but we're going to use the program management side of it for that. And then for the actual publishing side of it, we're going to be using World Anvil. And that is the two systems we have there. So I do have a bunch of things to go over in the Discord. What page do I have that on? I have it over here. Yeah, I'm doing my not talking to people. So, nope. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the right page. I've added 9 gazillion things here, which I shouldn't have done. Oh, there it is. So on the Discord, I started creating a separate document. I use Google Docs myself for just about everything. And these are, I'm starting to put in all the ideas from the Discord into a document. Here's the reason why I'm even bringing this up and why we're using GitHub. Is GitHub is a lot easier to track new things, and as opposed to kind of creating a new chat thing for each level, we can start doing these things in GitHub and make it a little bit easier. And each one of these particular NPCs that we have in here, once again, I have to go through the Discord and kind of look at everything people put up this weekend. I do appreciate everybody who contributed. Sorry, I was a little bit displaced from interacting too much on there. Could only do it on my phone and only certain times. But I need to start bringing this stuff in to World Anvil if it's a little bit more complete, and then I'll bring these into GitHub and I'll get all the repositories in GitHub set up so that each one of these particular elements would kind of be a separate one, and then people can contribute additions, whatever issues they might have with it. All these things can be tracked a little bit better from a project management side. It sounds like I'm doing a whole bunch of extra stuff because there's a lot involved in this, and it's kind of a way to make sure that everybody's voice is heard, make sure I'm not missing anything, as well as allowing the people who want to contribute, which is the GitHub side of it. And then for the publishing side of it, we have the World Anvil, so people can keep track of what we're actually doing. This is where people can actually see the public-facing side of it, what the actual module is going to wind up looking like in the end. That's kind of where we are in those two things. As far as campaign updates, that is pretty much where I am. Once again, I wanted to get some more story beats put together. And I'm saying story beats, and it sounds like a weird word. The reason why I'm using story beats is because I know if I say the campaign story, the campaign plot lines, or campaign structure, that's a little bit, because it's like a more free-form choose-your-own-adventure. That's what a campaign is, because we don't want to railroad people too much. We do need to have a through line for the story. We do need to have where players start. We need to have a success condition. But because this is more of campaigns are like node-based. You have to do certain things to get to new nodes and all those things along those lines. But if I do say a plot, people think that they're being railroaded. So I'm saying story beats because you have it. I'm doing the end condition and the beginning condition right now. I just didn't get a chance to put it together, which was the original title. And if anybody noticed, I actually changed the title and the thumbnail for this morning because I wasn't ready to actually cover the story beats. But that'll be something that we'll cover Thursday on the next live, because I will have a chance to get all that stuff together by that time frame. And I will have the GitHub set up, and I will have World Anvil. Anybody who, once again, Waffles has put his name up there, and I'll go ahead and do this as soon as this live is over. If I start trying to do it right now, I'm going to go ahead and screw it up. So I'm not going to do that. But as soon as this is over, I'll go ahead and put Waffles on there. But anybody can go ahead and let me know what their username is on World Anvil, and I'll start adding you to it. Let me know whether you want to be an author or whether you want to just view the back end, because there are different licenses for that. World Anvil is something I actually paid for, so just let me know which one you want, whether you want to actually contribute or you just want to view the back end. And that is kind of all I really have for the campaign updates right now. Waffles, I'm going to assume that you're going to want to do author. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that are going on in the great wide world. The first thing I want to say is, let's go ahead and bring that up. I cut this out so that, personal information, so on and so forth. Zoom it up. This is what I got from, yes, thanks, Waffles. So this is what I got from Paizo on my Paizo account and in an email today. Pending. Here's what this means is, so I have a subscription, so I'm going to get the PDF and the book. As soon as this changes from pending to, I think it's processed, is what the actual thing will say, I get the PDF. So I'm assuming I'm not going to get it till November 15th, which is when it's supposed to happen. However, these are coming. Super happy that these are coming. This is, Seasons of Ghosts 2 of 4. I got Seasons of Ghosts 1 of 4 over there. But this is real. Woo! But so as soon as I do get the PDFs, I can start doing more rules videos. Okay, Kojo, let me tell you. And I'm not going to, I don't want to bring it up right now. So I was going to bring up my email. I will say this. You know what? Let me do something really quick. Bring this down here. Let me do it, make sure I'm doing it off screen. So what I'm doing is I'm going to my Paizo account. And I am going to show, or not going to show, I'll tell you. So those two books, let's go ahead and do my order. For those three things, here's what I'll do. Once again, personal information, all that other kind of stuff. Here's the problem with a subscription, is you don't know exactly when you're going to get charged. That is the bad part about a subscription. And this is what I'm going to show for GM Core, Player Core, and the second of 4 for Seasons of Ghosts. That's how much I got charged. You get a discount for shipping and handling on subscriptions, as well as a slight discount on the books themselves. Oh, 100%. Kojo, I'll talk about that in a second. It's expensive. So, and you might say, well, I'm going to buy it anyways. Yeah, lots of shipping. That might be anyways. However, let's go back for a second. Once again, I can't, there's a whole bunch of stuff I can't show. Is you don't know when you're going to get charged. I got charged Seasons of Ghosts, September 28th. Then on September 27th, I got 2 Pathfinder Society scenarios. On September 9th, I got, I paid for that deluxe edition of Unfettered. Okay, Adventure Path. Heavy as the Crown was September 1st. If you have subscriptions, especially multiple ones, they are kind of random. You know that they're coming, but you don't know the exact day they're going to fall. So that is it's the good. I don't want to sound like I'm talking bad about subscriptions. Let me switch my camera here, because you guys I'm just in a small little screen talking about stuff that had nothing to do with anything on the screen anymore. The good part about subscriptions, you will get a discount. Shipping is cheaper. You always get the newest stuff. And there are multiple subscriptions, so you can only get what you want. I'm on the Adventure Path subscription. I'm on the Pathfinder Society subscription, and I'm on the core rulebook subscription. And that's my choice. So when I say, well, I got this charge and this charge and this charge and this charge, I have set aside a certain amount to do that and kind of calculated in my head what I could afford to do, and that's what I'm doing. Discount on shipping, discount on the prices of the books. To Kojo's point that he brought up here is, and Kojo said, I've heard from friends who have a sub that they often get the PDFs before the physical books arrives. Exactly. The reason why I brought this up is this says pending, and that literally is yesterday. I did a screen capture of this morning. So yesterday I got charged that $147. And as soon as this changes to processed or shipped, I forget which one it is. And by that, it isn't that I forget which stage, I forget what the word is. I believe it's, now I'm thinking about it, I think it's shipped. Anyways, as soon as this changes status to when the books are actually shipped, the second that happens, the PDFs will drop in my digital downloads. When I say a discount, this is what I mean by discount, is you're gonna pay full price for the books, but you get the PDFs for free if you have a subscriptions. Exactly, Waffles. They're worth it if you can afford it. Special editions, I have one. I have one special edition of anything, and that was High Helm. And this is why I have the special edition. The covers are nicer. Okay. So, this is Grand Bazaar. Doesn't matter which one. This is a regular book. Shiny, cardboard, paper, you can feel it. This is a special edition. Special edition has the leatherette, meaning it's not real leather, but it's actually padded, and they're blue and silver. Nicer cover. Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to show, is you actually get, as opposed to using Post-it notes, which I do, you get a nice little ribbon, and it's multiple ribbons so that you can do multiple things. Once again, there's two of them here. But as far as inside the book itself, the book is exactly the same. The reason why I have the special edition is I bought this from my local game store, and my local game store did not have the regular edition. They only had the special edition. I'm not hitting on special editions at all. They're fantastic, and it is very nice. And having the ribbon in order to do bookmarks looks much better than some of mine over there. I have Post-it notes or those kind of things as bookmarks. I personally don't have, special editions don't mean that much to me personally. Red for rule books, blue for Lost Omens, correct. And then you can, if this is a Lost Omens, this is High Helm. So this is blue, the rule books would be the red leather. They're great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. For me personally, it's not worth the extra price for it, I guess is kind of where I'm going with that. Back to the subscription thing. Shipping is cheaper, and you get the PDF for free as soon as the books are shipped, not when they're received, not even the day it's supposed to be published, as soon as they ship it. So November 15th, I'm going to take a guess here. November 15th is the release day. I am going to guess I'm probably going to get it a few days early. I talked to, that's the other bad thing, Kojo, is I've already talked to my local game store. I want the sketch covers too, so it is very likely I'm going to have 2 copies of Player Core and GM Core. That's just the way it goes. However sad that is. If that's the case, maybe I'll do a giveaway or something for the other one. We'll see, because that's physical shipping and knowing people's addresses, and that might be a little bit weird. But that might be something, because I probably will wind up having 2 over. But yeah, I talked to my local game store about getting the sketch covers too. So that's a good thing. And the only reason why I brought this whole thing up is once the remaster's out, and I'm pretty thrilled to do it because that's one of the things I really like doing is rule videos. I can get back to doing rule videos and the changes that are into remaster. One of the big things that I've been asked multiple times about, and usually from people who are newer to the channel, who are looking through some of my older videos, is character creation. I assume with remaster, it's maybe not as big as the OGL thing, but I think with the remaster being released, you're going to get players who were thinking about Pathfinder because of the OGL, but then found out about the remaster and decided to hold off. I think there's going to be another surge in new players into Pathfinder once the remaster comes out. Anyways, the point in me bringing that up is I've gotten a lot of requests for character creation and a lot of the basic stuff. So there's going to be new... I'm not going to get rid of the older videos because some people are still going to play original rule Pathfinder 2e, and that's a full option. However, going forward, actually, I can't think of I say most. I can't think of a single reason why I would stick with doing 2e videos unless it was a specific request. And if there is, I'll be more than happy to do it. But my videos going forward are going to be remaster, and I'm going to be redoing a bunch of videos. The titles will be different, probably be a different thumbnail art and those kind of things, and remastered across it so that people will know that I did a remaster. I'm laughing right now because I did I'm originally from the Northeast, and I said acrossed as opposed to across. That's why I did that little laugh. That's from my upbringing. But I'm going to be doing new remastered videos for a lot of the older stuff. I'm pretty thrilled to do that because those are the things I really like to do. That's one of my favorite things to do. That's why I started the channel. But remaster's coming. Now, on to some other things before I drop this off for the day. There are the videos that need to happen this week. Yeah, there's been some newer things. Not even talking about the people showing up at people's door to get the cards back. Not even talking about the AI art. There's tons of stuff that WOTC is just, I don't know what. It's Hasbro, I guess. But anyways, things that are going to be coming up hopefully tomorrow and the next day is I can finally catch up to doing videos again. So there is Claire Remastered, which I need to do something on. There is also Pathfinder citing the remaster and how to go ahead and redo things. One of the things that I have seen about this, and I do want to talk a little bit about, is I think that there are some interesting things in this particular article, even though it's very short and doesn't give you everything. There's some interesting things in here that are going to deal with how you can take not just Pathfinder Society, but your old character and bring them into the remaster. I really like it. So I have these two things to do, as well as, and Flying Pig's been great about doing it and bringing the articles from the Paizo blog into the Discord. I do have something kind of set up for an RSS reader in the Discord. And by set up, I mean I have it identified. I need to create the link and set it up so that we can do RSS in the Discord. So the Flying Pig doesn't have to do it all the time for me. And I appreciate them doing that very, very much. The only thing I want to make sure of is that it doesn't screw up any other part of the Discord. So you're going to see a new channel show up that says RSS, Paizo RSS, and then that's kind of where I'm going to be feeding anything from the Paizo blog into there. It is something I say in a lot of videos, and I'm going to say in both of these videos that I do, is that don't ever sleep on the Paizo blog. There's a bunch of good stuff that shows up in there. So keep that in mind. Now, with that, I really can't think of anything new to add aside from those things. I wish I had more of the story beats done, but I just don't. So I will go ahead and get that done. There probably will not be a Discord chat after this here. And I don't have anything to say, actually. I don't know what I would talk about in that. So for this weekend, I'm probably not going to do a Discord chat structured. Possibly tomorrow I will show up, and if I do, I will go ahead and put it as an event. And that's just a possibility. I don't even have a time. The reason why I'm saying that is there are a few things that happened. Let me switch the overlay here. There are a few things that happened this week that I need to close out before Monday. So I don't know how much time I'm actually going to have to spend this specific weekend doing those kind of things. So I will probably hold off on having a Discord chat either till some amorphous time tomorrow or possibly during the week, if I can even have one at all. But aside from that, the lives will be going back ahead on Thursdays as opposed to this Saturday time frame. I just had to do the Saturday time frame because I just wasn't around. And that is really all I can think of to talk about. But that is all I have right now. I do hope that I kind of brought everybody back up to speed. I will go ahead. One of the things I do want to get done this weekend, and it shouldn't take too much. Well, it is going to take some time, being honest, but I enjoy doing it. I'm going to get back to, I'm going to finish and re-edit the Woods Edge map. I do like that one very much. And I want to make sure I get that done because I like the map. But I'll try to get the logging thing done and some more maps in there. I will go ahead and add people to the World Anvil. Once again, just let me know whether you're an author or not. Waffles, I know I'm going to put you as an author, but let me know how you would like it. Oh, as far as the chat after this, I actually can't. Not, unfortunately, today. But, and that's all I can think of at the moment. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and end it on that. I greatly appreciate everybody showing up. Really, I appreciate it so much. Especially, let me say this before I go ahead and go. As I left, even as the week was going on, and as I was driving home last night, I was thinking, oh, everybody's going to be... In some ways, this kind of feels like I'm letting people down, but the real world's the real world. I have to pay rent. So, you have to do what you have to do. But once again, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody's patience. This is a large project that we're going to be doing. My thought is, 6 to 8 weeks in order to do this. I realize that's totally optimistic and things like this are going to happen. So we're going to keep working through the campaign as we work through the campaign. But I appreciate everybody for hanging in there. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend, and we will talk later. I should have a video out tomorrow morning. I should be able to get back on a normal schedule for doing videos. So I look forward to seeing everybody then. Thanks a lot. Bye.